Hello, my friends, and welcome to the All Walks of Life with Mr. Aku podcast. I am your host, Mr. Aku, and I do have my lovely and esteemed wife. This is my co host, and she will be my co host from now on. So, we will be discussing something that I'm intrigued with and she's into, I guess. And that would be UFOs and Martians. I believe in them, and I think she believes in them. But first and foremost, say hi, babe.
Hi.
So I do have a couple questions. So do you believe in, Martians?
Yes, I do believe in Martians.
Do you believe in UFOs?
I mean, I feel like if you believe in Martians, you believe in UFOs.
Okay, okay. And why do you believe in Martians? Like, what out there, what evidence do you feel like is out there that makes you to believe in Martians? By the way, she's wearing a Marvin the Martian t-shirt, as you guys can see. Um, Shout out to my sister-in-law for giving her this Marvin the Martian t-shirt. So back to my question: is what evidence out there is it that you believe in Martians and UFOs?
The fact that maybe pyramids were not built on their own, and I also believe that we're not the only ones out here in the galaxy.
Okay. I mean, that's fair because I believe in the same thing. So when you say here in the galaxy, what do you mean? Like in our solar system or further out to there? Can you elaborate on that?
Um, well, we don't know how big the solar system is. We've only been able to explore what we've been able to explore, but I feel like the solar system or the space is just as big as the ocean. We don't know how deep it really goes. Um, just with space, we don't know how far out it goes or what else is out there because we've only been explored to what people are able to resist with oxygen and gravity and all that. But there could be so much more that we don't even know about.
I mean, that is true. I mean, I believe, I mean, I don't, I'm under the belief that, um, aliens don't live on Mars. They're
Aliens definitely don't do not live on.
But if you actually take into consideration the scientists that and the astronauts that have sent stuff out to Mars have found like little molecules that could be considered life forms. So, a lot of people think, oh, because of that, there are life forms living on Mars. I just don't believe that. What do you think in that
But they
sense?
think the life form is for humans. Life, the aliens may not be human like uh going back to the unicorns. We imagined unicorns were white and had, a braided tail and had a horn in the middle, but uniform unicorns were really plumpy and would look more like rhinos than they did unicorns.
I mean, that's fair. That is fair because, back in ancient times, they did think unicorns, you know, were out there, and yet they were actually describing a rhinos. You say so. I do see that in that instance. Um,
It also goes back to the dragons. They have said they have found lifeless dragons, so dragons without any life form in them, and they have not looked like the Japanese dragons or like the Asian dragons, like Dragon Ball Z type dragons.
that
They've looked very different.
Shenron is badass. So
So again, how do we know that aliens look what we look like or live like we think they do?
I mean, they could look like Marvin the Martian.
Because like I've said to you in prior conversations, is aliens can be like the real humans and we can be the aliens.
I mean, that is true.
They
That's
may
fair.
they may look at us and be like, oh, those humans are weird, or like it goes back to like, what's happening. Like, we are in a sad time where, we're um putting people, locking up people who, deserve to be here, and we're, starting and possibly starting another war that we don't have to be starting. But but they can be looking at it as like, oh, those aliens are destroying their own planet, but we don't know what, we don't know what they're doing. So they may be like, why are they doing that? Or like, those aliens are weird. Or maybe they don't even think we exist. Maybe they're like us. Like, oh, do they exist? You know?
I mean, that is fair. I
And
mean,
like, what do they call us?
that is really fair. I tend to, I mean, that is something that's a very good, outlook. I tend to think that the universe is so vast and wide that there's wormholes out there that are is I'm under the impression that we have you know doppelgangers out there on the other side of the wormholes. You know, as everybody knows, I love Marvel, and we're in this Marvel Cinematic Universe side of incursions and stuff like that. So I truly believe that in those wormholes on the other side, there could be someone that looks like you or I, you know, um, that is just a doppelganger. And they are coming and visiting us to see how our world is like compared to theirs.
I
You know,
wouldn't necessarily say that. I feel like, if anything, they were already here way prior to, you know, human lives, because like, how were the pyramids built?
I mean,
How
that is
were the
very true.
mountains shaped?
That's
Like,
very true.
people want to say, oh, it's like the 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 earth, and like the shifting of the earth, and like earthquakes and all this. But it's like, how did volcanoes happen? How did, like, how did all these like architects for like the Egyptians happen? Like,
I mean, that is fair. I mean, I tend to believe too that aliens did come down and give the technology to the ancient Egyptians and the Aztecs and the Mayans to show them how to to um, to build the pyramids. I also tend to believe that Atlantis is real and it's not just a movie that Disney came up with. I truly believe that Atlantis is real. What do you think about that? Do you think Atlantis is real? Do you think it could be real? Do you think my idea of aliens coming down from outer space, giving the technology to the humans back then, do you think that's real? Do you believe in that?
I don't know if giving the technology to the humans is the right term, because for all we know, they could have chose this planet for themselves.
Mhm.
So maybe they were, like, oh, like, let's build here and see what we come up with. And, maybe humans destroyed part of the alien life,
Kind of like Wally, right?
kind of like Wally, and kind of like, uh, I just think of the universe more like Star Wars. Like, there's all these different planets, and they all have life like, but it's different life like.
I mean, that's true. I mean, like speaking of Star Wars, you go to Tatooine, you have humans and you have creatures, so I mean, that's true. You have the Rancorn, the sand creature that Jawa was going to throw everybody in the sand pit. I forget the name of that creature. But yeah, I mean, that is true. I mean, that's very accurate. But then if that's the case, if that's what you believe in, what do you think about Mars? I mean, couldn't Mars have creatures living on there that we can't see,
It may be possible, but I feel like if there actually was any, we'd probably have a, an understanding or an idea of what they actually look like at this point. Because
I mean, some people say they look green and short with big eyes and a big head.
yeah, I mean, that can be true, but also that can be something. there's a lot of humans who are very gullible, and they run with what they see or what they believe.
True.
You know,
I'm one of them.
Disney's a perfect example. Like, like they put somebody in a red suit and a red and blue suit and said he got bit by a spider, and there goes Spider-Man. Like, you know,
But that's Marvel, though.
yeah. But the point is, like, you know, why did he have to look that way? Like, he could have looked more like a spider.
I mean, well, if you think about it, right, Stan, and Jack, drew him because they wanted to symbolize what, you know, people went through. The difference is like the X-Men, right? The X-Men, the reason why the X-Men were born was out of the civil rights movement. So when they made Spider-Man, when Stan and Jack made, Peter Parker slash Spider-Man, they wanted to use, you know, I guess you could say they wanted to use like what every human goes through in puberty, but in this sense, in a kid from Queens who essentially, was down on his luck, treated like garbage, and, wanted to give him something,
Okay.
you
Well,
know,
this is a topic
stuff-
for another.
true, true.
This is a topic for another conversation. But
But I was just going on, to that point. I understand where you're coming from on people being
yeah.
gullible.
But okay. Look, let me rephrase what I just said in a different term. Maybe Marvel wasn't the right way to go, but let me rephrase it. What about dinosaurs?
Oh, we're gonna go to the diners thing. You love talking about this.
So, like, I love dinosaurs, and I do believe that they're real, but again, like, no one was around to know what dinosaurs actually look like.
And that is very
We are
valid.
going based on fossils that have been found in numerous different places. We're going based on the T-Rex had a ginormous body and tiny hands. Like,
Tiny
you know,
hands.
how do we actually know that that's what a T-Rex looked like? How do we know his hands were not longer than what we actually thought they were?
Well, I mean, to that point, case in point, they did um they did say that the velociraptors did have, feathers. So in Jurassic Park, they tended to give them, feathers later on in the movies. But I do see your point, right? I
But
mean,
we went based off what we believed
and that
was
is
the
true.
image.
That's very true.
So again, with aliens, how can we necessarily say, oh yeah, they have a like a I don't know, a upside down teardrop eyed head, and have, you know, um big eyes and no nose and whatnot. Like, we don't know because we haven't seen them. Like, again, for all we know, they can look like humans just like us.
So wait, so what you're telling me is the way you're describing it is their Lord Voldemort, with the, slits for nostrils
I
and
mean, I wouldn't
yeah.
say Lord Voldemort. I'm just saying, like, I don't think we have a clear image of what they actually look like.
I mean, and to be fair, that is true.
Because
I
that's
mean,
the same
that's
thing with UFOs, right? We're thinking like, oh, they're like a flying. They look more like a frisbee, like a flying saucer type thing. But, like, for all we know, is their UFOs can actually be something shaped like, a Cybertruck, a Tesla.
ugh.
You know,
I hope, God, I hope
like,
it's not.
or
It's not shaped
there's
like.
so many movies that have been like made, and it's like, how do we know that their ships or their saucers don't look something like Star Wars?
I
How
mean,
do we
that's
know,
true.
like, their homes are not like Death Stars? I'm talking about Death Stars because I love Vader. But
She's a big,
how do we
Darth Vader
know?
fan.
How do we know? Like, going back to their imaging, how do we know they don't look like stormtroopers?
I mean, that is true. I mean, that's very fair. I mean, that's a very valid, point. But I tend to think that, you know, they do look like little green men with eyes, big eyes. And the reason why I say that is uh, because of the body that they found in the wreckage in, you know, um, Roswell, New Mexico. I understand people think that that was a balloon, but they literally found a wreckage and with the body, and from what is described of the body, it's short with elongated head and big round
Yeah,
eyes.
but that's the thing, if that's what would describe to us,
I
the
mean, that's
media has
case
a
in point.
good way of showing or telling us what we want to hear. We don't know for sure. Just like um, getting into a topic real quick, like Jesus, right? Nobody was around when he was here, but everybody has an image, like he had like like sandals or chanclas, and he had like this.
Huaraches.
Okay, he had huaraches, and he had like long hair, and he had a beard, and he walked around with like a big stick like Moses type thing, and it's like you know we don't know what he actually looked like, because he actually was just he, we don't have an image of him, so why are we imagizing him like, oh, this is what he looked like, and like, why are there so many you know statues and crosses with an image that we don't know who that really is.
I mean, to
So
be fair,
again,
that is
with the
true.
aliens, like, we don't know what they look like we are being told, oh, we found this is what it looks like, give us give us proof, give us evidence of what they look like we know they exist, so like
I mean, that is true.
give us
I mean,
something to go off of. Like, Alien versus Predator is not cutting it for us anymore. We've grown.
I tend to think that they look more like the
Tell us they
alien.
look like stormtroopers. Tell us their Lord is Vader, and
I
we'll be okay.
I tend to think that they kind of look like the aliens in Independence Day. That's what I want to say. Um, but I mean, you are correct. I mean, we're just going based on what the images that we're being told because we haven't seen, pictures. Um, but
There's
yeah,
definitely some out there.
oh yeah, definitely.
There's definitely some out there.
I mean, I tend to.
Aliens can be living upon us now, and we don't even know about it.
I mean, that is true. They could be shape shifting, like Mystique from the X Men. I mean,
No, that
literally.
too, that too.
I mean, that is true. Um, but I mean, do you think that eventually they'll come down and they'll say, "Take me to your leader," as we've always been told?
I definitely don't think that's happening.
You don't think so?
I don't think that's happening.
What? Why do you
I
think?
don't think that they're interested to meeting our leader, so I don't think they would want to take us to their leader.
I don't think they want to meet this leader right now.
I
Um,
don't think that I don't think that's true. That's probably saying what we want to hear, not what we. They're probably like, bro, like, your leader has no chance on our leader. Like, they're probably like 50 times smarter than.
but see, that's why I'm saying is how do we know that the aliens aren't doppelgangers of ourselves from a different universe? I mean, it's
I
it's
wouldn't say they're
possible.
doppelgangers. Like, I don't. I don't believe in that word, doppelgangers.
You know,
I don't think there's doubles of us. Like,
so you don't think so. I mean, twins exist.
yeah,
So
twins
you
exist, but
so
I
you
don't
don't
think
think that there is a life form out there that looks like you, looks as cute as you.
I definitely don't think that, because I don't think, like, I don't. It doesn't fit in my head. Like, that's a thought that doesn't fit in my head, because to me it's like there's so right. Like, going back to the God conversation. And this could probably be a deeper topic for another day, but you know Jesus created everything.
God created it.
Okay, God created everything, and like he said, like, let there be flowers, and there was flowers. Let there be light, and there was light. I don't think,
Let there be drums, and there was
yeah,
drums.
I don't think that there's any doubles of anything other than animals. And the reason why I say that is because we have proof that there was doubles of animals. because in Noah's Ark, he said take two of everything.
Well, I mean that was a male and a female, though.
Yeah, but let them produce. So I don't necessarily think that there was like, because even like siblings, right? Like there's you've said it, there's twins, right? So even as twins, they're they don't 100%, like they're not 100% identical. They may look alike, but they're not 100%
I
identical.
mean,
You also have twins that are fraternal. You also have twins that are, one's a girl, one's a boy. You also have twins that, are not 100% the same. Like, it's like siblings,
see, I
right?
beg to differ on that one though, because over at work there are two guys that come in and they literally look a lot alike. They're twins. I mean, one is heavier than the other, but that's the only difference.
Yeah, but again, you're going based off an image. You're not going based on, you don't know them. I mean, maybe you do know them. Maybe you do talk to them, but you don't, you like, I don't think you work with them or you sit down with them long enough to know, like, oh, tomato, tomato,
I mean, that
like,
is true.
it's like, like I just said, tomato, tomato, right? Like, there's, there's, I love potatoes. So we're going to get on the potato topic, right?
Wait, you went from tomatoes to
Yeah, because I said
potatoes.
tomato, tomato, potato. Okay, so hear me out. Tomatoes, or sorry, potatoes are, there's a brown potato, and then there's a white potato, and then there's also like a red, country style potato.
Those are
You know,
good, by the way. Those are really good.
they're the same exact thing, but they all taste different.
I mean,
They
I
all have a different taste. They don't all taste the same.
I tend to think it's because
So
of
even then,
of the
like,
seasoning you put on it.
yeah, but even then, like, they're different, you know? And like, cheese.
I love cheese.
I love cheese. I love cheese.
She does love cheese. I mean,
I love cheese.
she doesn't love all cheese though. She hates she. What do you hate?
I hate provolone.
She hates
Provolone is
provolone.
not a cheese.
Provolone is a
I like
cheese.
blue cheese more than I like
Ooh,
provolone.
blue cheese is disgusting.
I
That's
like
like
blue cheese
chalk.
more than I like provolone. But anyways, the point is that, cheese.
I love how it went down a cheese topic.
Cheese is, white, yellow. You can get cheddar cheese and American cheese. They're both yellow, but they taste different. So it's the same, like it's the same like twins. They can look exactly the same, and you can be like, oh, they're the same exact thing, but they're totally different things. So I don't necessarily think there's, going back to our topic of interest here.
Not the cheese topic.
I don't think that I don't think that there's a double of us anywhere. Like, there may be somebody who's similar to us. I don't think there's like exact, like, I don't think out in the universe there's an exact person that looks like him or I, or any of you.
I mean, that'd be cool if someone looked like me because I'm so handsome.
Definitely, definitely.
Um, do you think saucers? You said it earlier. Saucers in the media, they made them look like, you know. Would you say they look like frisbees? What do you think they actually look like if they don't look like frisbees?
Well, again, going back to the Star Wars topic, they may look something like that. I can't say, oh, for take I this is what they look like, because I haven't seen one. But I feel like they're more like Star Wars ships.
Would you say they could be more like Romulan ships and Klingon ships from Star Trek?
I never watched Star Trek,
Mm,
so
I
I
have to get
can't
you on
say
Star Trek.
Star Trek. I don't even watch Star Wars.
She does.
I just
She does.
I don't. I really do not care about Star Wars. I just like Darth Vader and Stormtroopers, and that's it. I don't care about anyone else. Maybe Chewie and maybe uh Poe, but like,
Well, that's because
all the other
Poe
ones
is.
I really don't care for.
That's because Poe is Guatemalan. That's why.
It's not because he's Guatemalan, but
I'm part Guatemalan, by the way.
it's definitely not because he's Guatemalan. Guatemala has nothing to do with it. We can
Okay.
have a topic about things I like from Guatemala, and it's definitely not Poland, and it's definitely not this man next to me.
Oh,
But
that's
okay,
rude. That is so rude. Um, but okay, so then I have a question for you. Here, you say uh, earlier you said that you don't believe or you don't think that aliens came and gave technology to humans. But how do you think El Dorado came to play?
I didn't say
Uh,
that they didn't give technology to humans. I say I don't think they gifted it, like like the French gifting, the USA the Statue of Liberty. I don't think they were like,
that was
oh,
cool, by the way.
here's all of this stuff for you guys, and we're just gonna leave and y'all figure out what to do with it. Like,
I mean,
no,
yeah, I mean, obviously they
I don't
helped.
think they gifted it to anybody, but I do think they had some foresight in building some of this earth, or like some monumental, let's say that monumental stuff in this earth,
So okay, so what
like
monument?
pyramids.
Okay, pyramids. But would you say just the pyramids in Egypt, or would you also say the pyramids that the Aztec pyramids
I
had?
mean, I think
Or
all pyramids, like I said earlier, like like I don't think. I mean, you know, I don't think the. I do think like Italy. I do think that
the Leaning Tower of
the
Pisa?
Leaning Tower of Pisa does lean or sink a little bit every day.
She likes Italy.
Just
That's it.
like definitely. But anyways, I also think that San Francisco is also, you know, sinking in more daily.
I think we heard about that, right?
Yeah,
And
we heard about it, but
in
like,
here,
people don't think that, it's a thing, and it's like, I believe that, stuff like that happens. So for like Alanis, or that is definitely a real place. I believe, like I said, or like I mentioned earlier, you know, there's a whole life in the ocean that we have not explored because we have only gone as far as we can in submarines.
I mean that is true because the Titanic is all the way at the bottom, and
I mean, yeah,
it's
look at, going back, look at what happened to the people who were trying to go to the Titanic, uh, and they were trying to
all the
get
ones
up and
just
close.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
like,
ones.
they crushed, um, they crushed like a can,
I mean that is true.
because again, the pressure of it, we are only exploring what we are able to explore, like, but I feel like, again, God created earth, and there's so much of the earth and places in the earth that we have not explored, because we can only explore so much.
So if you're saying that, do you think that the mythical being known as the Kraken uh, exists? Because if we haven't explored the ocean, I mean, the ocean is very vast, very deep. Do you believe that that could be real? I mean, I know we're on the topic of UFOs and
I mean, yeah,
aliens,
I
but
believe that that's real, but there's also things that I believe that are real, that are not real. Like, you know, we're gonna get in a really sidetracked conversation here, but the Loch Ness monster. You know,
that is real.
I have said that I have said time and time that I don't think that's real because we don't have any photographic evidence. We have what we've been provided, which is the same thing like aliens. We've been given an image and being like, this is what it looks like, now go find it. You know? So, you know, I don't think that's as real as Bigfoot,
Bigfoot is
because
real.
there
Yes,
has
yes.
been there has been multiple like sightings. There has been, like, Bigfoot lives up in the mountains. He looks like a yeti. He has big feet, obviously given the name Bigfoot. We have a whole museum dedicated to him. And like, we went to Yosemite not so long ago, and like, there was also you know a thing in the museum about Bigfoot.
And by the way, off topic, really quick on that one, Bigfoot sightings. There have been a lot in Yosemite. by the way, and I tried to look for one. I did not find one. I will find Bigfoot one day. I promise you guys.
We will have better luck in finding Bigfoot than we will in the Loch Ness monster.
I believe in the Loch Ness monster, but that's a conversation for another day.
But yes, I do believe that, there again, going back, I'm going to reinstate my issue here. I do believe that we've only explored what we've been able to explore because of our lifeless, or our life living,
Do you
our
remember?
life living
Do you
style.
remember the movie First Contact in the mid-90s? With I forget her name, but do you remember that movie?
I don't remember that one.
Okay. Well, really quickly, I'm gonna summarize it really quick. It was with Jodie Foster. She is in like this circular thing that NASA had built, and she gets transported in in the galaxy and goes down a wormhole in that thing, but she's still in on land, and she goes into a wormhole and she travels through the wormhole into another universe. So let me pose you this question. If Do you think that humans would be able to build a spaceship to go into the wormhole and come out the other side? And what do you think that they'd be able to see on the other side?
I don't think we'd be able to, honestly, on that one. And the reason why I say I don't think we'd be able to is because we've only explored what we've been able to. We haven't gone to the other side, so we don't know. It's like, Mars. Look how many times it took us to get to Mars. We've had to build and build because Mars was so hot.
But humans haven't been able to get to Mars.
Yeah, but we've sent robots. But
True.
again, it's taken, even sending robots, it's taken so much to get them to Mars that, we I don't think we're able to build something because we don't know what planet, what their circumstances are like. Maybe they need, I don't know, like maybe they need salt, or maybe they need like ice,
True.
or um maybe they need to be like further from the sun, so it's like super cold, or like, we don't know what their styles are like. There's people even here, like, you're like I like to say, you're a warm-blooded creature. You're always warm, and
She always says I'm warm. I
and I'm
know it.
always cold.
I mean, she is really
I
cold.
am
Like
always cold.
she puts her hands on my neck, and she's like a penguin over here.
But I was born in the cold season, you know.
Yeah, but I wasn't born in the warm season. I was
You're
born
born
in May.
in May. That's
Yeah,
kind
but
of the
it's not
start
the
of summer. It starts to get hot in
no
May.
no. If you remember correctly, the rainy seasons are sometimes in May too. It's mid May, a late May that it starts getting hot, but it's like early May when
Okay,
the
well,
rain
I
is still.
think in my time it's more colder, but we're not gonna get into that.
I mean, you were born in November, so yes,
Yeah.
you know. Okay, so let me ask you this one question. Do you think that I know, Hollywood, as I like to call it, and movies and directors have kind of built up what aliens look like, or do you think that the aliens could look like the aliens in the movie Aliens? And do you think they could be hunted by a predator?
Again, I think that that's something we've been given. It's like, going back to the Spider-Man topic. If you get bit by a spider, you're not gonna have superpowers.
I mean, that would be cool though.
Okay, if you get bit by a spider, you're not gonna have superpowers. If you drink the serum, you're not gonna turn green like the Hulk. You know, I
True.
mean, let's just say,
I mean,
it's
to think about
let,
though.
let me just end my intrusive thought with this. It's like when, our president said to drink bleach to help with COVID. People drank bleach, and we saw what happened. So,
That is true.
I'm gonna say I don't necessarily think that, if if you do this, or you can do this to be more like an alien. Like that's not happening.
I mean, that is true, but if you really think about it, though, and on what I'm about to say, I don't, you know,
Don't drink bleach, by the way,
yeah,
and don't eat
spiders.
don't eat pods.
um,
Eat
I
spiders, but don't eat pods.
I'm going to say this, and I don't, and this is no laughing matter, but if you really think about it, though, look what happened when the U.S. bombed, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Look at what ended up happening to those villagers and the people there. Some of them came out with mutations. So I
Yeah,
mean, there
but
is
that's
a
different because we don't know what's being put into the bombs. We don't know what's putting into it. Like again, if you get bit by a spider, you're not going to turn into Spider-Man.
true,
You know,
but
if you go blind, you're not going to be the Daredevil. Like,
I mean, that would be. I mean, well, if you think about it, though, if in that sense, if you really think about it, people that are blind do their senses are unique to where they can,
yes,
see
they're
things and stuff like
unique, but like I don't think and this is no knock for anybody or anybody who knows somebody who's blind, but like I don't think you definitely unlock a different lifestyle. It's like
that.
people who are handicapped, right? You know, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, if I'm handicapped, like I can't move my legs or I can't move my arms or whatever. Like I'm no longer gonna be able to drive or whatever. But we've seen time and time again of people who are successful,
True.
like Dr. X,
Oh, are we talking about Professor Xavier?
Professor
Oh,
Xavier.
that is very true. Yes,
You know,
yes.
you
He,
know, going back to the movies, um, but we've also seen people who have a normal lifestyle living, and
true.
they learn how to live with a wheelchair. Like they can still drive, they can still go like fishing, they can still go to different places. Yeah, there's some places where you're limited to whatever your wheelchair can accommodate to, but we've also seen like you can live a normal life.
I mean, that is true. I mean, that's very
There's
true.
so many things now, like especially with technology evolving the way it did, or it has been. Shout out to the aliens. It has been getting better and better. So it's not as difficult as it would have been like in the 60s or the 70s
I mean,
because
that
there's
is
so
true.
much more stuff. Like like I was just having a conversation with one of my clients on yesterday, um, about
She works with kids, by the way.
self-driving cars, like
Those are weird.
like uh Waymos or Wemo, whatever they're called
Oh yeah,
nowadays.
the thing we
You
saw
know,
in Vegas. Yeah.
no, 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 the ones we see in San Francisco.
Oh, but the ones in Vegas were weird too.
The ones in Vegas were different, and I also talked about those because, again, that goes back to a different thing in what we're evolving in. Like I was like, if now we have like self-driving cars, which I wouldn't get on, and
Yeah.
my client was like, "Oh, I would definitely get on one." Like, and I'm like, "Yeah," because you think like everything's okay, but it's like, you know, I don't feel like we fully have um what do you say? I don't think we fully have developed the ins and outs of it because it's like Teslas. People are still dying in Teslas. People are still, having
Well, that's
accidents in
because people
Teslas.
are idiots.
I don't necessarily think it's idiots because it could happen to anyone. You
True.
know, like you know, so I wouldn't necessarily say it's idiots because we don't know.
Well, I mean, those people that, and I'm sorry to say this, but I've read that some people are having adult entertainments in the Teslas when they're on self-driving and they get into accidents.
But
Don't
again,
ever do that, please. By
that
the way.
goes to the people and what you think is right.
Oh, that's true.
So, we can't necessarily say, oh, it's on Elon Musk for that because, again, you do what you're given with and you either take it and you run with it, or, you sit back and think like, is this actually real? Is this actually, you know, um, is this actually meaningful?
I mean, that's true. Do you think that will eventually? I think I may have asked this earlier, but do you think eventually we will meet the aliens?
I would foresay maybe we will. Um, or maybe they've been living among us this whole time and
Oh,
we just
Among
don't know.
Us. Are they Among Us?
Definitely,
Mm. Are they the what are the Among Us characters?
they're definitely called among us characters.
um, do you think that they would be nice or they would be mean?
Um, that's a iffy topic, and the reason why I say it's iffy is because I feel like everybody has a different interpretation of what being nice and being mean is.
True,
There's
true.
some times where certain people say things out of context, and it's happened to even us. Like we always teach the girls, you know, it's not what you say, it's how you say things. You
True.
know, I've always told them, speak what's on your mind, no matter what or whose feelings are gonna get hurt, because at the end of it all, like,
Being honest is
being
good.
honest is what matters, and your feelings are always valid. Like we've always told them that,
Yeah,
but we also have told them, it's the way you talk to people that you have to be cautious for.
that's
So
very true.
again, it goes back to, like, I don't know if they would be nice or mean, like, because everybody has you know a different
Interpretation.
interpretation of what nice and mean actually is.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
I don't know if you mean by, like, oh, they're gonna be nice, like they're gonna invite you to, like, a carne asada and have a, like, like a
That would be.
pacifico with you.
I mean, that would be pretty cool. Popping a
I
bottle
don't think they're
with
gonna do that. I don't think
with an
you
alien.
mean like they're gonna come in, like, punch you in the face and break a glass, like I always say. Like,
Do you
I
think?
just
Okay,
don't
okay.
know.
What I mean by mean is, do you think they'll come down and murder us,
I don't think so, because
or would Joe Schmo say, "Hey, let's pop a bottle, let's pop a Pacifico together"?
I don't think they would come and murder us, because I feel like if that was the case, they would have done it a long time ago. Especially when they started seeing, like, how we have treated our own,
True, true,
people,
true.
um in different numerous occasions. And I'm not just talking about, like, the whole, presidential thing that's going on, or the governmental thing that's going on. it
Just in
happens it
general.
happens in general. It's like, every day it's a different topic. Husbands are murdering their wives because and kids, because they don't want to pay child support, or they they feel like their family is broken up, so they're just going to end the family. We have girlfriends and boyfriends getting killed because they decided to split up.
I mean, that is true.
We
That's true.
have parents who are killing their kids, or neglecting their kids to the point where it's abusive, because that's a topic I don't understand. But the
No, I
point
mean that's
is
true.
that we have dog, and cat people, and pet people who have these pets who also neglect them, or we have
Or
people who,
hurt them.
with the 4th of July coming up, we have people who um that use them to, like, light up fireworks, or
I mean,
do
that is
stuff like
true.
that. So,
That's
like,
true.
I don't necessarily think that aliens would have been like, oh yeah, because, like, if you sit back and you look out as an outsider, I don't mean this as, like, me and you, but us humans have done some effed up things to
The world.
the world.
Yeah, I mean that's
You
true.
know, and
I mean that's very.
that's
Do you do you think?
I feel like, even if you say, like, no, like, I haven't done that, I feel like, yeah, you have.
Do you
Everybody
think
has done it.
that do you think that we could be a kind of like an experiment for them? For they're looking at us and say, "Hey, how do they treat this, and this?" And then to say, "Hey, we're gonna use what we learned here, and we're gonna take it to the next universe to make sure that you know the next creatures don't." harm the oceans or harm the ozone layer or stuff like that.
I don't
Do you think that?
I don't think that, and the reason why I say that is because again, we don't know what's out there, so
True.
we don't know like what type of planet is out there. And again, I feel like they may have their shit all together. Like I tell you this all the time. I feel like we are living in 1997, when back in Japan they're living in like the 2030 or 2050 at this point.
I mean, it
Like
is true.
there's
It's
so many things that I feel like America is behind on, or not behind, but there's so many things that we can have but we don't have because of the way
we think.
we are and we think.
Yeah. No, that's
Like
true.
it's
I
like
believe
it's
that.
like when you tell a kid, it's like when you go to the store, you buy a kid a brand new toy, right? And then they have it, and then they're like, "Oh, this is my new favorite toy," for like a whole week, and then a week goes by or a few days go by, and the toy's broken, and it's like, "Well, this is why you can't have nice things." That's the same thing with us. You know, there's so many opportunities for us to have. I was just having this conversation with my mom earlier about churches. You know, she had said about how she is thinking about reconnecting with her faith, which is good. We've
Oh yeah.
also been working on that, so that's good. But she's like, I don't know if I can go to a church because to me, God is everywhere.
I mean,
And
that's
we
true.
have learned that, God is not a building, God is everywhere. So, she just said, I don't, and this is going to be a topic for another day because I know, you still have some thoughts about it. We literally talked about this yesterday. So, her thing is, I don't know if I can go to a church because when I go, they're like, oh, um, like donate this money or like help out with this money. But it's like, where's that money going to? Because we have been around, we've been to a few churches together
Yeah.
on our own with family that we've seen could need some help, and we know these churches get money. Like, not I'm not knocking on any church, but like, for example, she brought up Our Lady of Guadalupe here in San Jose off San Antonio Road. You know, they have they make a really good amount of money in December because there's a lot of people who come from different places. There's people who come in from Mexico and spend time here with their families. So they go to that church. They have the big uh uh thing on December 12th, and they have a play and everything for the kids, and even the adults. They have the band, the mariachi, all that. They have not done much with the church one.
True.
And I understand, like, it's like a business, right? You need the money to, it's like a restaurant. People are like, oh my God, I came to the restaurant and it looks the same and blah blah blah. But it's like, I understand it takes a lot to, have people
To maintain.
to maintain the, we literally had this conversation about Disneyland. Remember where I had told you, like, Disneyland makes like over $1 billion. Okay, maybe not a billion, but at least, okay, $1 billion a week. We can say that because
Yeah.
churros are like $5 now. You get a churro
I
and a
love
coke.
churros,
You
by
get
the
a
way.
churro and a coke, and it's like $12. Times that by times that by 12. That's already like you know that's already over like
What? What did?
$500.
What did you say?
I said, um,
$12.
yeah, like $12 times it by 5. That's already like close to
That's.
$500.
I mean,
A little bit under, but the point is that you know think about the dinner, the character dining, right? Because that's
it's a
also a
lot.
part of
Yeah.
Disney. That's a lot. It's like 30-40 bucks per person.
Yeah.
The kids are probably like 20 bucks ish,
Depending.
but the passes or the daily tickets.
Yeah.
If we wouldn't have season passes, it would be about like $2,000 every time we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
for a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
That's including hoppers, and
Yeah.
we've now gone into the habit of doing lightning lanes for certain rides. So all in all, you're talking about like $2,000, but you're not talking about like where you stay. You're not talking about any additional food. So
That is true.
um, you know, you can do. People are like, oh, you can do so much with that money, which is true, but at the same time, it's like um, I lost my train of thought.
I knew you were going to lose your train of thought. I know where you're
I'm
going.
watching the Colombia game while we're recording this, so I'm watching the game and trying to stay caught up here. So
But I do want to say this, that I believe that when it comes to aliens, I believe that they are out there. I believe that the government has always covered up
definitely,
because the government.
and also to just reinstate here, I don't think they are kept for hidden in Area 51. Area
Oh no,
51
no,
does exist,
no,
but I
they
don't
are
think
there.
I don't think they're
They are
there
there.
because
They're hiding them.
I don't think they're there.
They're hiding them. They're hiding
They
them.
they have if they are here and they are here, it has to be somewhere else. I don't think Area
She
51 is
doesn't
ever
believe
here.
in Area. She doesn't believe Area
No,
51.
no,
I
I
believe.
believe in Area
No,
51.
no, I'm
I
just saying.
just don't. I mean, again, this is a topic for another day. I don't want to get sidetracked, but I, you know, segueing really quick because tomorrow's 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. Celebrate safely. But I don't know when this episode's coming out. But
Oot.
if you're watching this before 4th of July, have a safe 4th of July. If you're watching this after, I'm glad you're still here.
We're all glad you're
We're
still
all
here.
glad you're still here because you matter. You is important. You is kind. You is loved. Anyways, um, so you know, we were talking a few days ago about how my lovely husband over here does not feel patriotic about 4th of July because, whatever the reason may be, I I don't like to get into conversations about like, well, you have to feel a certain way because, to me, it's like I've said earlier in this um earlier here is to me, I'm the type of person who's like your feelings are valid no matter what. So I've made it very clear to him like you're valid for feeling that way. Like I'm not gonna be like, what do you mean you don't feel patriotic? Like poof, To me, it's like you're valid for that. There's a lot of stuff that maybe there's not really much to be proud about. I was having this conversation with our oldest daughter, um, earlier today about how
I was at work, so I don't know this
yeah, I was
conversation.
having this conversation with her about how I have been told by not just family, but also friends who are like, "Oh, you're born here. You should be more proud to be American than you are
American.
Mexican. Or you should be more proud to, feel a certain way about it." But to me, it's like I, I in myself am not really much excited for 4th of July. Yeah, this year is like the 250th year of America's birthday, and
Bicentennial,
yeah,
I believe, or something like that.
I that's a valid way to celebrate. But I get more excited about this is a conversation I was having with our oldest. Is I get more excited about Veterans Day and Memorial Day, and the reason why is because I feel like we take for granted, or maybe not all of us, but people are like, oh yeah, let's celebrate America's birthday, but like, what are we doing to help out our veterans? What are
True.
we doing to help out?
So you were talking to Jane this morning, or our daughter? Sorry.
Yeah, I was talking to her this morning about um how I'm more uh oh, okay, I remembered. So we were talking about how um the 4th of July, right? how you're not really feeling patriotic about it, and I told Jane that, or our oldest, that I was feeling more like we should celebrate more of Veterans Day and Memorial Day, just because, like, what are we doing for our veterans?
I mean, it's
Like,
true.
those people gave our lives. Some made it, some didn't. You know, and even those who did make it, they suffer from like PTSD. They suffer from like insomnia. They suffer
True.
from anxiety, depression. Um, and I just feel like we could do a better job at providing for them versus being like, oh yeah, let's celebrate America and let's celebrate, how patriotic we are. And it's like,
I mean, that is true.
I honestly think, and like, this is no knock on America or anybody who is gonna have a good time and celebrate, but I honestly feel like the Earth is gonna be rocked and shaked and celebrated on Sunday than it is on Saturday, and that's just because Mexico may or may not do something with what they're qualifying in the quarter 16,
The round of 16.
round of 16.
But okay, we segued like ins and outs between different rabbit holes.
That to have me close my part out. Aliens are real. Their UFOs do not look like flying frisbees. They do not live in Area 51, and they are not green creatures. They look like something else that we have to yet wait to see evidence for.
I mean, like I said, I believe they're short green creatures and they're flying saucers, but we will do it. What do we always say? We will agree to disagree.
You will agree to disagree.
I learned that from her. But anyways, folks, closing it out, like I always say, be kind to one another and just listen. Thank you, babe, for being my co-host, and thank you for being my co-host in life and in coming episodes. Mr. Aku out.